Hello everyone, welcome back to The Budget Sportsman. Today I want to answer the question, what is the best trail camera for you if you're on a budget in 2019? In this video we're going to put 3 different budget trail cameras head to head to find out which is the best bang for your buck, especially considering maybe different needs or criteria that you have. The first camera we're going to be talking about is the Wildgame Innovations Terra Extreme 12 megapixel IR. The next one is going to be this 8 megapixel Tasco trail camera that you can pick up at Walmart. They also sell a 10 megapixel version, but we're going to be talking about the 8 megapixel today. And then the last one is going to be this Primos Proof Cam #1, 2nd generation. If you haven't already seen it, I do have some other videos, reviews, and so forth on this camera. In fact, I called it the best budget trail camera of 2018. Now, this is not going to be a comprehensive review of any of these cameras. It's just going to be sort of an overview of what things I do and don't like. And what we're going to do is we're going to have different categories, and we're going to give each camera a score of 1, 2, or 3 in each particular category and see who comes out on top with the best total score. Let's start by talking about the price since we're looking at budget trail cameras here. This camera here, which is the Primos Proof Cam 1, 2nd generation, at the time that I made the video calling it the best budget trail camera of 2018, I was getting this camera on rebate quite frequently for anywhere in the range of $25 up to about $40. Unfortunately, since the time I made that video over a year or year and a half ago, I have not been able to find that rebate. And so now on Cabela's website, this Primos trail camera is listed at $100. You can find it occasionally, I believe, on Amazon for $60 or $70. That puts it at the most expensive of the ones that we're going to be talking about today and really doesn't fall into the same price category as the other two. If you could find it on rebate, then it would be in the same price category. The next one would be this Wildgame Innovations, coming in at $35 to $40 typically. I've seen them at some stores. You will often see on websites and so forth that the regular retail price for this camera is somewhere around the range of $79.99. But again, I don't think you're ever really going to have to pay that for this camera. You're normally going to be able to find it in the range of $35 to maybe $45, sometimes with a $5 mail-in rebate, or just simply on sale in the store. And the last camera would be this Tasco trail camera from Walmart. You can go to just about any Walmart, and if they're in stock, you can pick up this camera for $28.88. I even saw this camera last year on sale after Christmas for, I think, $21. So in this category, the Tasco is going to come in first for the cheapest price, and it's going to get 3 stars. The Wildgame Innovation going to come in second, it was 2 stars, and the Primos is going to come in last for being the most expensive at 1 star. So we're going to add these stars up throughout the video and see who gets the best score. Let's talk next about weight. Coming in first here under the weight category is actually going to be the Tasco. And it weighs in without batteries. All these weights are without batteries, but including the straps. It comes in at 9.2 ounces. Coming in second again is the Wildgame Innovation at 10.2 ounces. And then coming in last again is the more expensive Primos, coming in at 13 ounces. Again, these are all without batteries and SD cards, but including the straps. Let's talk about the size. In the size category, the Primos actually comes in first. It has the smallest dimensions. The Tasco comes in second. That would be this camera from Walmart with the next smallest dimensions. And this Wildgame Innovation is going to come in last with the largest dimensions. Now, the weight and the size may not matter to you, and so you may want to remove certain categories from this review to find out which one is the best for you. I'm just going to give you a lot of different categories here. Now, let's talk about external design. Personally, I've listed the external design, the physical features of the trail camera with the Primos as #1. I really love the design of this trail camera. One of the things I love is that if you want to use it with a lock, the lock actually goes around the entire trail camera, and there's really no way without breaking the lock to get this trail camera off. Some trail cameras you can actually break the plastic that holds the lock on and be able to get it off because it's locked through the back. This one locks through the front, and I really, really like that. I really like the way it flips open. I love a lot of things about it. I don't want to get into the next category, but I've given this first place. I've given the Tasco second place, and honestly I really love the design of this. Unfortunately it does have the lock on the back instead of on the front, but it didn't really bother me too much. But the reason that this ended up taking second place is while I was testing this camera for review, I actually broke the switch down here that releases the battery tray. Now you can still get in there with a small pocket knife or just about any little anything that's kind of small, even a paper clip, you can get in there and you can still push the release button, but the actual physical part of it that you could grab onto before broke off. And for that reason and that reason alone, this got second. Otherwise, because of its size and shape, I probably would have given it first or tied for first if it wasn't for that button breaking off. However, because of that, the Tasco did come in second. Now, let's talk about the Wildgame Innovation camera here for a minute. I gave this third, and it might surprise you because looking at it at first glance, it looks really good. It's got a really nice sort of texture to it that looks more like bark. It doesn't have any straight, flat lines. This is going to blend in better in the woods, help deer and critters not to see it as easily, but will probably also help people not to see it and potentially steal it. But there's a couple reasons why I gave this last place in the external design. One reason is that it does not have a tripod mount. Both of these other cameras do have the 1/4-20 threads on the bottom to be able to use it on some sort of a tripod or threaded adapter to put on a tree. Now, to be honest with you, I have never used that feature. But if you wanted to, this camera simply does not have that feature. And I was quite surprised that it doesn't. The other reason that I gave this last place for design is because there really is no place to put a Python lock through it. You can see perhaps that there's a strap back here, and I have seen that style of lock before that's more of a metal strap rather than a cable. And so perhaps you would be able to lock that with that kind of lock. But again, it's on the back, not the front. And for me, I've already got a Python lock. That's the cable lock, and it's just not able to be used with this camera. The last reason that I gave this last place for design is because it comes with these little bungee cords to attach it to a tree. Unfortunately, it gives you very little adjustability for what size tree you're going to hook this trail camera to. As you might be able to see, both of these other trail cameras come with a very long strap, probably 6 feet long. The Primos is my favorite in that it has a nice metal sort of a cinch strap. It's easy just to pull through and pull tight. I really love that. My next favorite is the Tasco. It's more of a buckle design where you have to weave it through, but again, nice long strap that is very adjustable for any size tree. To me, that's a really big downside to the Wildgame Innovation, only having these very short little bungee cords. There's 2 of them, but it's just a big downside. Again, the way this is designed with the slots on the back, you could certainly buy your own strap or steal one from another trail camera to use with this. But to me, that's just a very poor design feature. So I've given the Wildgame Innovation last place in the external design category. Primos 1, Tasco 2, Wildgame 3. The next category that we're going to talk about is user interface. Now, I absolutely love the user interface on the Primos, and I've given it first place. There's not a lot of fiddly up and down arrows, not a lot of enter buttons, all of that kind of thing. There's these 3 sliders here that all at a glance, you can just do a lot of your settings and see what you're set to all at one simple glance. There is a few things that you need to use the up and down arrows and the enter for, but most of your settings, including your delay, your mode, your burst settings, all of that is done here with these sliders. So the Primos gets number 1. On this category, the Wildgame Innovation gets number 2. I really like it. It's very simple, enter up and down. It's very simple to understand what your settings are and what you're doing with the controls. I feel like it comes very naturally and there's really no questions. In this category, the Tasco has come last. And the reason for that is it's a good system. There's nothing particularly wrong with it. Again, it's an up and down system with an OK button in the middle. And again, I'll try to give you close-ups of all of these. But the downside of this system is sometimes what is displayed on the screen is not readily obvious what that particular setting does or what it means or what you need to do. I will say that with the owner's manual, it was very easy to figure out, and once you use it a little bit, you're going to begin to just remember what those settings are. But because it's not immediately obvious without the owner's manual, or at least for me, I gave this last place. Now let's talk about features. Once again, for features, it may not be any surprise to you, but the most expensive trail camera here gets first place. The Primos ProofCam 1 has a lot of features. It has time-lapse in it, it has video, it has burst, with a lot of different burst settings and video length and time-lapse settings. There's just a lot of functionality that I believe is built into a relatively inexpensive trail camera. Coming in second in this category is the Tasco, and that may surprise you because it's the cheapest trail camera, but believe it or not, this has a lot more settings and functionality than the Wildgame Innovation does. This does give you a burst setting. Do you want 1 or 3 pictures? It gives you photo, it gives you some photo or video. So there's a lot of different things that you can set in here, not nearly as many as the Primos, but still giving you some nice options. Unfortunately, I was really surprised and, to be honest, a little disappointed in the Wildgame Innovation camera. There really, as far as I can tell, is no way to set photo burst or delay. Really, the only thing you can do with this camera is set it to photo or video. Maybe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, maybe there's something I'm missing, but I feel like this camera is really dumbed down. Now, if you like simple and all you want to do is slap it up on a tree, that may be great for you. Now let's talk about what I'm sure a lot of you are really interested in. This is going to be our last category, and it's going to be image quality. Once again, it's probably not going to be any surprise, but I'm going to put up some side-by-side comparisons here. The image quality on the Primos is definitely the best. There's no question about it, both photo, video, day, night, the Primos comes out ahead, hands down. Now, again, remember, we're talking about a camera that costs 2 to 3 times as much as what some of the other cameras cost. I would say, in my opinion, that the Wildgame and the Tasco come in very close, but I did give the edge to the Wildgame Innovation on image quality, with the Tasco coming in last. Again, I'm going to show you some samples here of all of the different photo, video, and try to put some side-by-side comparisons. I did put all 3 of these cameras on the same tree so I could try to get the exact same shots at the same time to show you. As I mentioned, the image quality between the Tasco and the Wildgame Innovation to me was very close. Especially in daytime, I think it could go either way. There's a little bit different look to the 2 pictures, but the Tasco I think really holds its own. But the reason why the Wildgame Innovation won is because it definitely wins over the Tasco in nighttime image quality. Alright, so we've completed the 7 main categories that I wanted to address in this comparison. Let's talk about which camera won with the most stars in our point system, and it may not be any surprise to you that it is the Primos ProofCam 1 2nd generation. The reason this camera won is because it won categories like user interface, features, image quality, and external design, and it does all of those things super well. However, because the Primos cost significantly more than either of these 2 cameras, I want to finish this video by really comparing which one of these 2 options is the best if you're really on a tight budget. It might surprise you to know that this cheapest camera, the Tasco camera that you can buy for $28.88 at Walmart, came in second with 15 stars. That means it was only 1 star or 1 point behind the Primos camera. The Wildgame Innovation came in a clear last with only 11 stars. Let's talk about these 2 and what categories they won and where they shine for your purposes. The Tasco camera came in number 1 in price, obviously. It also came in number 1 in weight and size. If those categories are not important for you, if you're not going to be hiking long distances to get into your spot to hang your cameras, and weight and size doesn't matter, then this camera may not score as well in your personal scoring system. But it also beat the Wildgame Innovation in external design and features as well. In fact, the only 2 categories where the Wildgame Innovation beat the Tasco was in user interface, and again, I feel like that was a very small margin, and it beat it also in image quality, again, by a very small margin. This camera is my brother-in-law's. This camera I bought with my own personal money. If I had to recommend which camera would I go out and buy again, it would absolutely be the Tasco camera from Walmart. Why? Number 1, has much better features. Number 2, it has a much better design with the tripod mount, a better strap, and the ability to use the Python lock. To me, it makes it an absolute clear winner in our 2019 budget trail camera shootout. I hope that you found this video helpful to you. If you did, leave me a comment down below. If you would love to see a more in-depth review of either one of these cameras, leave me a comment down below. If you want to see an in-depth review of the Primos, I've already got videos. I'll leave links for that up above and down below in the description. Hey, this is a wonderful time of year to get out into the woods and hang some trail cameras or do some scouting, and I hope you'll do just that. So remember to get off YouTube and get outdoors into God's great creation.